He did everything right. He worked hard, stayed disciplined, avoided shortcuts, and kept going when others gave up. Nothing in his life suggested failure was coming. In fact, everything looked like it was finally working. And that's what made it dangerous. Because most people think their life falls apart when they make a bad decision, but that's not how it usually happens. Sometimes everything ends after a normal decision. A decision that feels harmless, logical, even smart at the time. He didn't ignore red flags because he was careless. He ignored them because he trusted himself. He believed that experience, effort, and good intentions were enough to protect him. But life doesn't warn you before it takes something away. It waits until you're comfortable. Until you feel safe. Until you believe you're in control. And then it tests you with one small moment that doesn't feel important at all. This story isn't about failure. It's about how close success can be to collapse. How one emotional choice, made without fear, can undo years of patience and sacrifice. If you've ever felt confident in your progress, if you've ever thought, nothing can go wrong now, stay with me. Because what happened next didn't look like a mistake, until it was already too late. He had reached a point where life finally felt stable. Not flashy, not perfect, but solid. The kind of stability that comes only after years of struggle. Every step he took was calculated, every move backed by experience. People around him saw success, he saw responsibility. That's why he didn't rush decisions, except this one. It didn't feel risky. It felt natural. The person he trusted had been around for a long time, sharing conversations, listening to problems, celebrating small wins. Familiarity created comfort, and comfort lowered defenses. He believed that shared history was proof of loyalty. He didn't think success could change people so quietly. What he didn't understand was this: when things start working, that's when intentions are tested. And sometimes, the biggest risk isn't a bold move, it's the moment you stop being alert because everything feels fine. At first, nothing went wrong. In fact, things felt easier. Tasks were shared, pressure reduced, decisions moved faster. It looked like growth. That's how loss often begins, not with chaos, but with convenience. Slowly, responsibility shifted. He stopped checking details he once handled himself. Not because he was lazy, but because he trusted the process and the person. Small delays appeared. Small excuses followed. Each one sounded reasonable. Questioning them felt unnecessary, even disrespectful. He didn't want to damage a relationship over minor concerns. Deep down, something felt slightly off, but success was still visible, so doubt felt ungrateful. This is where many people fall, not because they ignore danger, but because danger doesn't look dangerous at first. It looks like progress. And when trust replaces structure, control disappears quietly. The turning point didn't arrive with noise. It arrived with confusion. Numbers stopped adding up. Conversations felt tense. Transparency faded. When he asked questions, answers came with irritation instead of clarity. That's when realization began, but realization doesn't fix damage already done. The person he trusted no longer saw partnership, he saw power. Silence had given permission. Loyalty had removed accountability. By the time he tried to regain control, he discovered he no longer had it. Stress followed him everywhere. Sleep disappeared. Confidence cracked. He blamed himself more than anyone else. Not for trusting, but for trusting without limits. Betrayal hurts, but self-blame cuts deeper. Watching something you built slowly slip away, knowing you allowed it to happen, is a pain that doesn't heal quickly. Losing everything didn't end his story, it rewrote it. The collapse stripped away comfort, illusions, and blind faith. What remained was clarity. Pain taught him what success never could. He learned that trust must be paired with boundaries, and kindness with control. Starting over wasn't motivational, it was exhausting. But step by step, he rebuilt with awareness instead of emotion. He stopped confusing familiarity with integrity. The loss didn't make him bitter, it made him precise. Stronger, quieter, wiser. Looking back, he no longer asked, "Why did this happen to me?" He asked, "What did this teach me?" And that lesson became protection. Because sometimes, losing everything once is the only way to make sure it never happens again. Sometimes the loss isn't the ending, it's the warning you needed but ignored. He didn't lose everything because he failed or because he wasn't smart enough. He lost it because he trusted without limits, believed without structure, and chose comfort over clarity. This story isn't here to make you suspicious of everyone around you. It's here to remind you that trust is powerful only when it's protected. If you're building something right now, a business, a dream, a partnership, pause and look around. Ask the hard questions. Set the boundaries you've been avoiding. Because success doesn't just attract opportunities, it attracts intentions. And one emotional decision can undo years of effort in silence. Learn from his experience so you don't have to pay the same price. Protect what you're building today, so tomorrow doesn't teach you this lesson the hard way.